Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Sorry about that. Jenna had a little bit of war paint she had to finish putting on. So, man, you guys, a lot of you were in the live chat waiting. So, thanks for that. That's pretty awesome. On today's video, just want to kind of talk to you guys about strategies, and that is the focus of doing something with your stagnant items. So, if you have stale listings and, we're talking anything that's over 90 days, that's at least what eBay is talking about. You're really not doing yourself a favor if you're just allowing that item to sit in your store and keep recycling itself and recycling itself. Now, don't take my word for it. And this is what I've done here. I've actually got a 1-minute clip, and this is eBay. eBay actually had a presentation last year in UK, and I don't think much has changed between now and last year, but I just want to play this clip and it speaks to it a little bit more. And that way it'll buy me a little bit of credibility for those of you who don't believe it.
Stagnant listings are listings that have been live or unsold for at least 90 days. This type of inventory can negatively impact the search results and where your products show in search, because search then sees these items as unsold and as something that buyers might not want on site at the moment, which might not be the case. It could be that the item is not optimized for buyers to purchase, and that's actually quite a good fix for your site and worth time investment. And if this is the case of a lot of your listings, we suggest delisting. Take the optimization steps that I've just gone through and relist that item. And make sure you take the time to really invest in the optimization of that listing before you relist, to then overcome any of those problems you might have seen about old listings becoming stagnant. So once you relist that item, you'll benefit from the item now being new to search, and it will give more information to delight the buyer, and hopefully they'll click onto the product and purchase that item. And from our experience, this can boost listing impression and visibility in search by stagnant listings are.
So that's 32%. Now you can increase your actual your sales by 32% for those listings that are just sitting around in your store. And I apologize for the quick cutoff on the clip. Believe me, just so busy today, just scrambling around, just trying to get that ready for you. But I wanted that to come from eBay, more from me, okay? Because the thought process is, well, you don't need to do all these things to sell on eBay, and that's only partially true in the sense that, again, we talk about if you have an iPhone, if you have Apple products, pretty much any Apple products for that matter, high-end whatever, like high-end clothing, high-end shoes, you don't need to do a whole lot with your listing. And honestly, if you have a high-end something that's sitting in your store more than 90 days, there's got to be a problem, especially if it's a high-end item. So get a lot of people who are very content with the set it and forget it model. And I think we tend to forget about the items that we've listed many months ago, and we just ignore it and just think that listing new items is going to somehow get those old items sold. And it's really not the case. Now, I can tell you from experience, just this last week, doing an entire, 300 some odd items on one store, just end and sell similar. There's something to that, because these same items I had up for sale now all of a sudden are selling, and eBay is looking at these items as new items. And so that's just my take on that. I want to know what you guys think on that topic. It's just not me telling you, it's eBay. So that's why I put that little blurb in there. So for those of you who are watching with us live, of course, I see a lot of comments and stuff, which is awesome, in the chat. Please put your questions in the chat. That helps drive the program. And for those of you who can't make it, just watching this after the fact, please, of course, comment down below, and of course your questions as well, and I'll try to get to them. Been getting a lot more viewership, a lot more comments, a lot more questions, and it's been a little bit more of a challenge to try to get to everyone, so I apologize for that. But we have Ed the Reselling Writer in the house. We got Prosters in the house. We got Tyler's Trading Post in the house. We got Mark Suddick is in the house. Hi, John. Glad to see your account is back up. Hope you finally get them to stop messing with you. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but we got Riddle's Closet. Hi to all. We've got Carolyn Bling Bling Factor Australia. Hi, Prosser and Tyler and everyone else. Janet Hyder. Hi from Georgia. Hyder. I get that wrong every time. Just the way it's going to be.
No, you're talking about Hoyer.
Hoyer, yeah. But, I get everyone's name wrong. Piggy Ricky. Art Betzold is in the house. Kevin Hawthorne is from Lakeland, Florida. I think we all know that by now. We got Biscuit Butt in the house. He's playing with his DVDs, so he might not be so active on the chat. Bill York, No One Design, Savage Pickers, and we got Tommy Bernard, Michael Biddle, Trina, Hawkeye Pickers, and Semper Fi. So we'll get to your guys' comments and stuff. But, sales have been pretty good here this week. Couldn't be happier. Of course, I've made some changes in the way I source a little bit. Of course, yard sales are a thing, right? But I've just been doing a lot of cool things that I've been enjoying to do, and can't really go a whole lot into detail on that for just reasons of, here's the thing. When you find something that works, I found, like when I found the whole B-stock Costco pallets, as soon as I went and did an unboxing, it seemed like about the next time I went and tried to buy another pallet, like a month later, the prices and the number of people bidding were just insane. And that video had like 5,000 views on it at the time. So it's like, okay, even if a 1% of these people were actually now going and bidding against me, they're driving up the price. It's 50 people. So I'm just kind of learned from that experience. And you guys know my toughest thing that I've dealt with lately, the last couple of years, with the drying up of liquidation is the sourcing aspect. So I just can't do it. But and the jury's really out anyway on what I'm doing. So maybe someday I'll be able to kind of report to you as to my strategy on that. But I apologize that I really can't elaborate a little bit more. But it's just about this, guys. It's about, I have two different stores. So, I go to the bins on like once a week now. And of course, you're not finding home runs every time. You're finding your $10, your $15, your $20 items. And that's more suited for my other store, my secondary store, the Hot Desert Deal store that we have. And we have about 550 listings in there. Got about 325 listings in my main store. And I'm really trying to reserve that space for the higher end items. I just sold today. You guys, those of you you saw the post that I put about the JVC items. Well, here's what happened, guys. I'll tell you. I'm so embarrassed. Okay, sold one today. Sold one of the 100 CD changers. I have currently in the garage, I have the main unit and another 100 CD changer that is up for sale, and I have that for like $2 something, but maybe I'll bring the price down. I think I sold the main, the 100 CD changer by itself for it was like $80 plus shipping, if I'm not mistaken, which is fine because I'm only into it for $22. Okay, so I had 3 of them. You guys know I had 3 of them. So I actually went in, took one of them, got the pictures. I got a perfect box for it, had plenty of space. I had extra room for the bubble wrap. I bubbled the heck out of this thing, and I put bubbles to gap it so that it doesn't move around inside, and it's had plenty of room. And of course, I rearranged my garage and I put it right up on the top of one of the racks.
Can you guess what happened? Take a guess.
I said garage and the top rack.
Take a guess.
Okay. Well, we'll get to your guesses. So, hopefully you guys are typing away, but if not, I'll tell you. So I'm all excited with myself. I just got the main one listed.
Design says it flew off.
Main one listed, and then this other one listed. And I had them side to side, and go to open the garage, and here comes the garage door. Now, of course, usually the garage will like stop and like click, 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 click when it can't go any further. But this thing was like a Mack truck. This thing hit the side of the first box, pushed the other box, and it went flying like 7 feet, and it flew and it landed exactly on the corner of this box.
And
And
sitting
the other
at my
box stayed
desk.
up there. The other box stayed up there, thankfully. But I couldn't catch it. I was like more in like no mode, right? And it hit the ground, and I'm like, oh no.
I heard it crash, and I was like, oh.
And
no.
I opened it up, and it was jacked. The side of the unit was screwed up. So I'm like, oh no. So now I'm worried, right? Because okay, I have another box, this one that just sold. It's fine. I didn't store it up there again, but I'm worried. I mean, I packed the heck out of it. But I guess there's not much you can do if it lands on the corner, right? I mean, that is the exact image that I have of someone throwing a box off of a 747 onto the tarmac and right on the corner. That is the worst. So of course that went in the trash can, and that's like $80 gone, because that's what I sold the other one for. So yeah, it didn't take long to sell that other one though. And you know what? So what? Okay, look, I made a mistake. We all make mistakes. Write it off as the cost of doing business, all this, that, and other thing. But how many people on YouTube will come out and just say they screwed up like that? Not many, not many. You're only going to hear the good stuff. You're not going to hear where they screw up. But it's just me being honest with you guys and accountable for my screw ups. And it is what it is.
He
so
says video, or it didn't happen.
Oh, it happened.
Oh, it happened.
she was my proof. I walked in. I said, "You'd never believe."
And
what
he's
happened.
holding the box, and I went, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, but I'm thankful that I had it work the other way, because the main unit with the other one in there within a larger box, it was more of like it helped push that one off the rack, and it was like, oh, why didn't I try to catch it, right? So yeah, that was fun. So, but it's selling. I mean, a lot of you were thinking, nah, no one's going to really want that kind of thing. But if you do, list it separately. And I guess that was the best way to go about it. At least I'm going to get most of my money back. So I'm kind of free rolling on the other one.
No one design said sell it to Archie.
Yeah. It's vintage. I can tell them it's vintage. So yeah, that's kind of the way my week's been going. I mean, yeah, okay, fine. Bad things happen, but good sales have happened. So, we've been doing a lot of shipping lately and stuff. So that's always good, right?
Who's been doing shipping?
Well, I do the labels.
You said we.
Yeah, it's a team thing.
Me.
Yes, I have her doing the shipping, but we can trade. You can list, and I can. No. Okay. So now that we have that out of the way, so let's see. Mark says, "Hey Jenna, it's always says how cold it is. Just come to Toronto, Canada now. For the last 2 days, it's been 25 degrees. Oh. We just had a major snowstorm in the last 25 hours, 15 inches of snow. Oh, no. I would be out just building snowmen or something.
You go ahead and keep that, Mark. Yeah. I don't want it.
Let's see.
Right now, it's currently not bad. It is 57.
Carolyn says, I don't know if I could do that kind of cold. And Janet's out there in Georgia. Piggy Ricky says, I was walking on sourcing route this week and found vinyls thrown out for the trash in the street. Picked out 6. 2 days later, I find out one of them is worth 120 pounds. Wow, it's awesome. I met some guy, he might be watching, a guy named Joe. This is about a month ago. And one of those things where he had a yard sale, and the guy has a yard sale every week, but I didn't know that. So he buzzed me into the gate, went over and just started chatting with him. And the guy frequents the bins, this, that, and the other thing. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to do a video. So he has like a channel. I don't recall the name of the channel off the top of my head, but he was doing a video off of the things that he found while walking behind his house in the field. And he found like a centerpiece, not a centerpiece, but what was that? A center cap for a wheel. And he found like 1 or 2 of them. He sold like $26 a piece. And he was all excited, sent me a message. Hey, I can't believe that I found this out in the field. He found a hat. He found something else. And he actually made a video out of it. But I thought, that's kind of interesting. People don't really know what they have. I mean, look, some of these albums that I'm listing that I've sold, I mean, the covers aren't the greatest, right? The records might be fine. And maybe someone's looking for them. They're like from like the 60s and 70s. I mean,
we sell records every day.
Yeah.
There's at least 1 to 2, and that's just the minimum. But every single day. Speaking of that, you got to get out there. And
I gotta cut boxes to fit. So what I do is I get like a 14 by 14 inch piece of cardboard, and I take, if they buy 1 or more, I basically bubble the records, and then I put the cardboard over top, and then we, then put it in the poly bag so that, it keeps it, the albums keep their shape. So I need to go cut more because we've run out. We had a lot of those out there, stacks of them.
And now I just used
Yeah.
the last. I actually had to cut my own this morning.
Okay. So now I have no template to use, so I'll have to make one. So
I made a pretty darn good one, though, I'll say.
Okay. Well, good job. So, that's just it though. When you're shipping, you have to actually be creative. You have to find ways to be creative. And to me, I don't want to ship albums just bubble wrapped and put into a poly because, there's so many ways that they can get like bent and stuff. So I don't want to do that. I mean, if it came down to it and I ran out of ways to do it.
We haven't had one complaint yet.
Not really. No, not at all.
What do you mean, not really?
Well, we had the one weirdo that I didn't really want to talk about, but the one weirdo who did the chargebacks.
Oh, well, yeah. I don't think that had anything to do with my shipping.
Yeah. Okay. So Piggy Ricky says, when you're an everything seller, no way I'm walking past a box of trash records without taking a peek. And it's funny you mentioned that, Piggy Ricky, because my thought was this: what if you're a niche seller, okay, and you go to a yard sale, and I am let's say I'm a clothing only seller, and this lady has a rack of clothing, and I'm going to go through it, but you, in the corner of your eye, you see that she wants $1 for like a Nintendo 64 console in perfect working order. That's an exaggeration, but are you gonna ignore it? I mean, that's too good of a deal to pass up. So are you not? See, that's the thing about niche sellers. Okay, you're going to be disciplined into like, okay, don't look over there because I might see some electronics that are worth some money. Let's just focus on the shoes or the clothing. Do you really pass up stuff that's like, wow, that's a good deal, too good to be true? Or do you buy it and then what? I mean, if you have a niche store, it doesn't make sense. You have a bunch, like 1,000 clothing items, and then you're going to put up a Nintendo 64, or do you just have a miscellaneous account? So if you are that person who will look at it and say, wow, that's a good deal and buy it, are you still a niche seller, or are you actually now an everything seller? So I just kind of wondered about those people who just are disciplined in buying only that type of thing to resell, and how much are they passing up? How many opportunities to make money are they walking away from? Let's see. We got some questions here. Got Bill York from Yonkers. That's kind of a could be Bill Yonkers from York. No, so thanks for joining us today. Biscuit Butt, I look for free stuff on the Freebies app all the time. I mean, he's always looking at stuff.
He's locally. Always on a nightly adventure.
He'll call me and say, "Yeah, I'm meeting this guy up.
This guy at the gas
other day."
station.
Yeah, no. He had Archie had this guy. He's like, he called me. It was like, must have been like 11 o'clock at night. Maybe it was a little earlier than that. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it was still late, kind of late at night. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go meet this guy. He's gonna sell me this leather jacket and something else, like a surveillance camera." And he wants me to meet him at, some restaurant parking lot. So I'm on the phone with him while he's driving, and he gets there. He's like, "I don't see the guy." And so I guess the guy went somewhere else. And I'm like, "Don't worry, I'll stay on the phone with you just in case this guy's like a whack job." And so he gets to the other place where the guy said, "No, I'm over here." And apparently it worked out, but it's just these late night rendezvous with people. And he drugged me out one night at midnight to meet this guy at his house, and that's why I got stuck with all these damn records, because we got them back, and Art's like, "I don't know if I want these," and I'm like, "Oh, really?" So I guess I'm going to buy them from you. So let's see. Biff says, question for anyone: how does 2023 compare to 2022 so far? Down about 5%, but January 2022 was my best month last year. That's a very, very good question. I don't know off the top of my head, but, I don't think it was, if we're talking January, and I got to look at the other account, but talking January last year, I don't think I did very good last year. I think.
Let's just pretend last year didn't even exist.
I mean, I just didn't have very good months last year. If we're looking at selling, like so far, I don't know if it gives you January, but yeah, I'm not doing great this month either. I mean, I'm probably down a little bit. Thankfully for the last
we've had
week.
a little,
Yeah, I mean, but if we wouldn't have the last week, I mean, what would
the
we?
last week was really nice.
Yeah, I mean, last 7 days, like $1,600, which is okay. It's still lacking. I mean, that's the last 7 days. That's counting the 2 days I was suspended. So should be around 2,000 or so. But for the month, I mean, not very good at all. I just think part of it is, and I'm finding this out because I'm finally adding some pretty good stuff to the mix I already have, and that's helping a lot. I recently added some, and it's funny because I'm finding ways to get liquidation a little bit differently, and that's kind of really what I'll say about that. But I just added like some new pair of biker boots with tags. I got some inline skates, open box ones. I have some other things that are selling pretty well, and my average sale price on those items are over like $70. So just adding the value, and it's kind of, I wish I would have just got creative before and just found ways to get more sourcing. And that's what you got to do. You got to look for ways. If it wasn't for this last week, really between doing the thing that I did with the sell similar on my whole store, I think that was a huge part of it. Like I said in that video, I really, really think there's things that were sitting in my store that sold. And I'm like, wow, this thing sold, like those nesting crates and things like that I've been holding on to and lowering the price and, not really doing a sell similar on those for some reason. I mean, so thankfully, this last week has started out as a nightmare and turned into a blessing. Let's see. Biscuit Butt says, I feel like I'm in school again when the teacher puts a video and I fall asleep. Wow, that's horrible. Well, I'm sure you're not falling asleep after what I had to say about you a few minutes ago. Tommy Bernard says, eBay is still a 4-letter word, not much changed. Yeah, not much changed. And you can swap out some 4-letter words to describe eBay sometimes, that's for sure. Biff Boffo says, end sell similar does have some value, but it's not a pinata you can just keep beating for treats. Well, and that's just it. So my thought was, how do I really, really work this? Now, of course, you guys know for the most part, most of my listings is 30 days and sell similar, but I can't always catch it. Some days, let's say I'm taking a day off. Well, I'm not looking at that one day, right? Maybe I'm doing something else and I'm not into my listings that day. There's going to be items that basically flip over to another 30 days without me noticing it. Things are going to get past me. But for me, it's like, based on the success I've had, how do I work the system where I'm not leaving listings on the table? So if I'm allowed 1,000 listings, plus if you look, eBay gives you in certain categories free listings for certain categories. So if I'm selling in those categories, which I know I am, I just don't know what categories are offered for free. It's not really, going to be 300 listings when I go and recycle my store. So the 1st of February is when it's supposed to roll over and give you new listings. So I'm not going to leave those listings on the table. I think I have like another 350 listings that I have between now and next week. So I believe what I'm going to do, maybe even as soon as today, I'm just going to flip it again and see what happens on both accounts, both my other account and this one. And might as well right before the weekend starts and just to see. Because I know that when you do a sell similar, it's usually about 24 to 48 hours, maybe 72, where you get a boost. And so I guess we'll see. Michael Biddle says, hi, John. Thank you for letting me know about the chat GPT. I've been using it for my listings and had me more views than imprints than before. And yeah, and I can tell you, in fact, I almost put this in my last video, but I said, the video is too long and it kind of jumps off topic, but I am developing a spreadsheet. I have it worked out. I'm just going to try to get some charts implemented to where, okay, and you guys have watched the channel for a while, kind of know I have a spreadsheet that has your inventory. So, okay, I buy 10 items, I plug in what they are. And once I list them, I'll put yes for listed, and it moves it. It's no longer on that sheet. It moves it to the next sheet, which is the listed sheet. And it's just compiling a list of stuff that's listed. That's the stuff in your store. Once it's sold, you go to it, you type in yes, it moves it away, so it's gone, and it moves it to the sold, and that's where you go and type in how much you made and eBay fees and all that, and it figures out the margin. And then it's going to have, once I get to that part of the project, which is probably going to be this weekend, it's going to have charts that's going to show what you did year to date. And then maybe I'll have something set up to where that data is moved to another sheet for like January, and it shows you how you did in January, that type of thing. So it's all broken down for you. It's a lot of like what you see on My Reseller Genie, that type of thing. But of course, there's no way to import the data. You got to do it yourself, that type of thing. But you can actually go find a transaction that's older than 90 days and, say, hey, I sold this item before. What did I sell it for? I think there's value in having your own data, along with like expenses all in one spreadsheet, so that at the end of the year, you can go and track it down. So that's kind of the point. Something I want to do for 2023. Let's see. Trina says, hey, John and Jenna, great to see you. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Hawkeye Pickers says, greetings from Iowa. So thanks for being here. Piggy Ricky says, I was going to end listings and sell similar after midnight last night, but I have 100 times 80% off listings. So we'll wait till Tuesday. Now, one thing that I noticed, anybody noticed the new markdown sale that you can either do 500 at a time or up to 10,000 at a time? Now, the difference is if I go and select 500 at a time, and okay, let's say I have 500, let's say I have 600 in the store, but I do my first 500 and they all have markdowns like 10%. If I go and sell similar on that item, basically that's no longer a part of that sale. But if you're utilizing the other one that has 10,000 listings or up to 10,000 listings, it's more based on category. And as you add new items, it's going to give that item the discount. And I have my markdown sales utilizing that, so that if I do a sell similar, there's still that 10%. It's still part of the sale, if that makes sense. And I think that's a fairly new one because I just saw it last week. I have never seen it before. And I ended up going in. I scheduled out 6 months worth of sales that are going to be going on and off every 2 weeks. Simplify 1918. I end and do similar 10 items per day. Sales increase, but not sure if it's end and beginning of year or if it's actually working. I mean, I think it's a benefit to an item that you've had for a long time to actually allow eBay to see it as a new item by relisting it or sell similar in that case. Hawkeye Pickers ending and selling similar since last week. Sold 6 listings that have been sitting for a long while. See, I just think it works. Tommy says, I end relist ending today daily. Recheck price, lower look for errors and listings. Works like crack at no one designed 2 pins. Yeah. So it works. It works. Yeah. And, might as well find the things that work and utilize it, build that into your daily routine, or like Tommy does, or maybe it's every 2 weeks. I'm still going to see if I go in and flip my store every 2 weeks, I will never encounter a situation where, oh, this one's going to end and flip to a new 30 days, tomorrow, because I'm like 2 weeks ahead of things. So it just depends on how you want to do it. And if you have enough listings to pull it off, and it almost might be worth it as I grow this store, and both stores actually, that, I jump to the next size store where I'm paying 60 something bucks a month and I get 10,000 listings. So then I can really flip it. Like every 3 days, I can flip my whole store. That might be worth it. And maybe I'll try it and do a video. But the problem is, as soon as you do that, then eBay's, locks you in for a year.
Yeah.
Let's see. Picky Ricky, I did a sale similar once that passed for longest listings, but it was only crap DVDs. I think it made a little difference on such items. You can do it for pretty much anything. Mm-hmm. IC's in the house. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Hopefully you're rocking those t-shirts. Let's see. No One Design. If you buy 100% of inventory and then after 1 year you sold off 80% of that, that is a good metric to strive for. Certainly. Mm-hmm. But what do large, let's say large stores do? Your Walmarts, your Targets, they go in and they throw those 20% of those items they can't move. They throw them on the clearance rack. So why not find creative ways to get rid of that stuff? Maybe cross-post it over to Mercari or Poshmark, something like that. Art says, can I define impressions? Yes. Impression is when you meet someone for the first time, what they think of. Oh, different impression. No, impression is when anytime your item is shown, potentially shown to the buyer, meaning that if your item pops up on, let's say, page 1 of the search, right? Or anywhere on the screen where they can actually see it. Let's say you've paid for, let's say you're looking at doing some research on an item, or it pops up, your item will pop up, or an item pops up. That's an impression, right? Maybe you were searching for someone else's item and you found a similar item. That's an impression that you'll get. Maybe like your external impressions when you're dealing with like a Google search, that type of thing. Someone that has no at all any desire to buy off of eBay, and they're looking for that Nintendo 64 game, that vintage game, and they type it in and they see that you're selling it on eBay, and that's an external impression. So it's anytime that the buyer has been shown your item to potentially click on it, and then that leads to a page view. A page view is when they actually click on your listing, and then hopefully you have enough good stuff in that listing to get the sales conversion. Prosser says, "Hey Jenna, hope well. Glad to see you guys getting your sales back now. Yeah, it's just kind of nice. I mean, I like being busy anyway, but there's nothing worse than
waking up and having nothing to ship.
And you know what? It's just like, okay, I guess I'm going to keep, pushing the envelope, trying to get stuff listed, right? I think for a lot of us, we can list our way out of it sometimes. But when your sales are that bad, there's a bigger problem. And of course, I'm not going to say sell similar is the actual fix to my problem. No, I've been introducing some better stuff into my store, and that's also helped.
Thank God. You've got some crap.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're making sales on shoes, right? But
shoes are.
I think what happened was, in October, I'm like, okay, I've got a ton of shoes. I've got bins full of shoes. So now I can just rest my laurels on these shoes. And, you can only list and sell so many shoes, I think, when you're an everything seller. So if you're listing 5 or 10 a day, 5 or 10 pairs a day, and then other stuff, you're not going to sell that many. Maybe you'll sell 2 or 3 pairs, but that's not going to do it. I've got to introduce other stuff into my store, and that's kind of what I'm doing right now. But it doesn't help. I went to the bins and picked up another like 30, 40 pairs of shoes that were pretty darn decent.
And he got some single shoes
by
accident.
Yeah, I know. People are throwing stuff in my darn cart. I got pairs of shoes. Like, who the hell would buy this pair?
They were single.
Yeah, but I mean, well, I did get one single Patagonia shoe. But what I'm saying is there's pairs of like these like loafers and just weird like off-brand tennis shoes that I'm like, I would never have put this in my cart. But the way they have it set up at the bins now is you can't park your cart off to the side and then go and then like look to the bin and like take it back to your cart. They want you to have your cart next to you. And I think somebody was throwing their shoes in my cart, which was, of course I should have looked through it a little bit better, but I didn't. Next time, it's a lesson learned. Let's see. We got Jovial Juggler. Hello, FAE family. Happy National Chocolate Cake Day. And I think you're making these things up.
No, I bet you could pull it up.
Because it's every time we have one of these live streams, someone's making it up.
No, he's the one that does it. He tells us what the national day is.
Blackwood Reseller says, hi all from South Wales, UK. How you doing? Thanks for hanging out with us. Yeah, I like chocolate cake. That's for sure. Piggy Ricky says, I have a 200 disc changer, paid $5, selling it for $200, but I ain't cheap on it. Yeah, you might have a problem moving it for that price, but
he's also in the UK.
Yeah. Susan King says, if an item is listed in WorthPoint, is that reliable for description? Not looking for a price, but to verify vintage crystal stemware. I have a buyer wanting verification. Yeah, I guess so. I've used WorthPoint for like those badges and those military items, and I've used that to help me understand what I'm looking at. And I think for the most part, it's pretty good. Try using Terapeak. Go back like 2 years to see if that same item comes up. Use the information that WorthPoint's giving you, but it's best to try to have multiple sources that's giving you like this is exactly what it is, because the last thing you want to do is sell something that is, let's say you've claimed is 50 years old, but it's not. It's only like 25. and that's definitely an INAD waiting to happen. Let's see.
That's all their guesses.
I know. Look at all these guesses. Someone said a crackhead stole it. Murphy's Law. Vibrations knocked it, or a door hit it, which is what it was. An earthquake. So good guesses, but yeah, it was just me not taking into account the height of the door as it opens and basically not stacking the tall stuff.
And it goes up into the ceiling, and he put it up there, and it went like this.
And just pushed the box in the other one. It's like,
and all I heard was bam.
And I don't know if I should have even tried to catch that. That would have been that might have hurt me.
You probably would have hurt yourself.
But, Tommy says UPS states 3 inches of protection will sustain a chest high drop. Well, not that one though.
That one.
And I got to tell you, even a chest high drop on the corner, and I pad the corners. I put extra cushion on the corners, the bottoms and the tops.
It literally took a chunk out of the corner of this thing.
Yeah, it was not good. Let's see. This guy says should have just sold, shipped it, and blamed UPS for damage. Yeah, they'd have a pissed off customer. Yeah. Josh says that's why I don't watch most people. It's all the jackpots, no use. Yeah. I mean, it's just, come on. If you're gonna come on here and share stuff, share everything, be real. And when I say share everything, it's share everything. Don't just say, okay, now if you guys want to pay me, $9.95 this month, I'll show you the other good stuff. It shouldn't be that way. That's just something that just eats at me. But then again, I mean, there's people who feel like, you know what, if you have a YouTube channel, milk the hell out of it. But again, that's kind of, this depends on who you are. No. Let's see. Jovial Juggler says just paid $780 for new springs for the garage door today. Boing. Yeah. Well, these don't have the same kind. This is more of a like one of those Chamberlain ones. Yeah.
You've got chains and they pull.
Yeah. Yet another instance that shows flipping ain't easy, bummer. And I was really like, really? Seriously? I was really irritated at myself.
Straight to the backyard, to the trash can, just shaking his head.
I mean, I could have put it aside, but I didn't want to see it anymore. I just put it in the recycling bin and said, forget it. I'm sure they can recycle that old vintage material. No Bullshit says, let us hope they burn down the Memphis Police Department in 40 minutes. No, that's not a good thing. I don't want to see any more of that stuff. You know what? I am tired of, since like this whole COVID thing, and even like before that, like the year, like 2019 or whatever, this country and world has just been crazy and chaotic. You just need to end the wars, end the crap, and this, you know what? Let's be adults about it and just
be
stop.
Kind.
But it's who cares what I have to say? I'm just some YouTuber that likes to sell stuff on eBay. What do I know? John Clark says, take that duct tape, wouldn't fix it. Love those electronic garage door openers.
No.
It
was a whole chunk.
Yeah, it was just dented in bad. So let's see. Piggy Ricky hates shipping the vinyl. And Mark says, sell the damaged one for parts only, CD unit. Well, no, I have another one with the CD unit that's boxed up and safe and not going to be pushed around anywhere. It's just one of the spare ones that I had. I had 3 of those units, and the one single unit was the one that died. So anytime Picker says, hello, everyone. No One Design 2 says, just say you test the CD changer in the listing and it passed.
No, it failed.
It failed. I was thinking about taking little inserts. If you've ever seen one, when you pull out, the trays are like little plastic pieces that just slide all the way out and they slide easily back in. I was thinking about taking all the trays out and selling them to somebody who might want to replace. But I said, you know what? I said, you know what? I'm not going to go there. Maybe 20 years ago when more people had those things, but now it's just, if someone has to be looking for one of those devices. And I'm sure they're not thinking, well, someone's got extra trays on eBay, because I haven't seen them. Anytime Picker says, I just hit the like button and sold 50 things in 1 minute. Yes.
What?
I don't believe it, but yes.
I don't believe you.
Yeah. But hit that like button, guys. You'll get a sale in the next 24 hours.
Be like anytime.
Savage Picker says, one man's trash is another man's treasure. That's true. The vinyl shipping boxes are nearly 4 pounds and like $1.50 to $2 a piece. You're better off just taking
Remember
cardboard
all
boxes.
those boxes we got, the mystery boxes from the liquidation?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have a lot of those.
We had a lot. We only have
don't
like
have
10
a lot
now
anymore, but we did. And we still have some left over, and we cut them. John made a template, and he was just cutting them when we had that yard sale.
Yeah.
He was out there just cutting templates.
Yeah. And, you know, it just saves you time. You don't have to go in like, how am I going to ship this now? You know,
At first I didn't like doing it. It was, it's not a fun thing to do, but you know, it works, and it's, you know, the fact that it protects the records.
Yeah. We have Trevor York, no relation to Bill.
How do you know?
I don't think so. That would be really, really weird. I mean, maybe his son said, you know, hey, watch this video or this channel, maybe. But I'm willing to guess it's just a coincidence. Have you noticed that when you sell used socks, you get a lot of weird requests? I even sold used socks.
Never sold used socks.
Nope. But tell me about it. I'd like to know more about it. So Piggy Ricky says, yeah, I do. What Join does, he sandwiched between cardboard, but them parcels wrapped it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I know what you're talking about. No Bullshit says, it sounds like a drug deal, not an eBay transaction or Craigslist. Yeah, with what Archie was doing. Yes. But I know
it sounded really shady, but if you knew, you know.
But then again, Archie's doing this like weight loss thing with some other YouTubers. And he really wants to win this thing. So maybe start a new thing.
Don't put that out.
I'm not going to put that there. I just saying.
Well, you just did.
Well, I didn't. It was just maybe.
No, I was listening.
Okay. LSGS Rob says, how's it going, Johnny boy? Pretty good. Pretty good mood today. Looking forward to the weekend. But it doesn't mean I'm going to really do anything. It just means that Saturday and Sunday, I don't have to worry about having my packages ready.
I don't have to ship.
Biff Bofo says, I do pass stuff up. No FOMO here. I fear of missing out. I used to sell everything for me. Margins increase when I streamline my process. Yeah. But so you're one of, I'm willing to bet the few that would be like, wow, you really just given that Nintendo 64 away, and you say it works and it's complete with everything, knowing good and well that it's definitely worth something. That's pretty disciplined. LSGS Rob says, I'm up 33% to the day from 2022. Sourcing higher sell-through rate items is making a massive difference. Look, it took me almost 2 years to realize this, but it's working. Well, it's what I'm doing now on the main account. Of course, I have the fallback, you know, clearance aisle account. That's the smaller stuff. Piggy Ricky says, I just checked. I have sold 12 pounds more this January with 4 days to go, but I have sold 25 less items. So yeah, but it's all about scoreboards. So I would say you're doing better than last year. Right. Then Rich Colby says, going to lose my top rated status in March if I don't sell a certain number of items I have had for a long time and worked very hard. That sucks. Mark prices down, ran sales, etc. But well, I got to tell you, there's a way to do it where you can maybe just blow out maybe 99-cent auctions on some of these if you don't care to lose money. And it's just about getting the numbers up. You can do the same thing for if you have a high late. Let's say you got 2 or 3 weeks coming before you get evaluated, and no earthquake here, just Jenna moves on. And so if you have like 2 or 3 weeks coming before you're evaluated, and let's say your late shipment rate is high, you can blow out a lot of items, and that will increase the number of items that they compare your late shipping to. LSGS Rob says, John, you should continually mark down your items every month, starting at 20 to 30% instead of selling similar. Much more effective if those items didn't sell at the original price, then it was too high. But yeah, I'm going in and I'm selling those items. But I think you're right, because look, I don't want to go in and, okay, let's say half my store is priced too high, even with, let's say, a markdown sale. I don't want to go in and just rely on just blowing out my store, ending the items, and then sell similar. And even though I'm getting the markdown sale still on that item, the pricing is still higher than the market is asking for at that time. So for me, it's about maybe doing a bulk end item for all those items, a bulk sell similar, and then a bulk reduction in price, like you said. Maybe every time I'd flip it, maybe 10%, that type of thing. In addition to the fact that I have a markdown sell for 10%, in addition to the fact that I have a coupon for 10%. So you don't want to, I have a lot of room to work with on these items, but you don't want to get so deep to where you now are just barely, making $1 or $2. Might as well just throw it in the trash. And I'm saying not even counting the cost of goods, you're making $1 or $2 after eBay gets their hands on it. Purple Cactus Sales says, hello, enjoy your chat like always, and just made another sale while watching. Love your money back guarantee. It works.
Hit the like
That's
button.
why we can offer this money back guarantee, because we know it works. Piggy Ricky says, Chat GPT did something nothing else could. It knew what tennis racket I had, yet Google couldn't tell me. That's amazing. Rosel Diaz says, eBay is stealing. On the 17th, the buyer opened a case for $70. On the 22nd, eBay closed the case in favor of the client and again took $70 off of my available funds, and I cleared the record of the first $70. Well, okay, so it depends on how long you've been selling, but if eBay is after like a day or two saying, okay, your funds are now in available funds, and that money gets sent to your account, your bank account. Now, when all this stuff shakes down after you've shipped it, buyer gets it, they open a case, right? You've probably already received your money by then. So now eBay is saying, okay, this is a case. And if the buyer wins, then they'll take the money back from you out of your funds because you were already paid for it. For me, that doesn't happen too often. I don't know why. I mean, a lot of details lacking here, but if you let it time out, if you let it lapse, if you don't accept the return within a certain amount of time, a lot of things, and if you're not on top of it, there's really no reason for the case to be found in the buyer's favor. And even if it is, you need to be on top of that and fight it through the dispute department. Prosser Independent Trading says, I have had an issue with ChatGPT. It keeps telling me it's at capacity at the moment, and they will let me know when it's available again. I've been having it write macros for me, and it gets like halfway through and it just stops. And I'm like, well, what's going on here? You got to go back in and type finish sometimes, and that'll work. It's amazing that, it's so much technology, but yet it's only limited to so many. I think it's limited to so many characters. Let's see. Simplify says, I've been recently bumped up to 4,000 listings, 35,000 K, but close to 1,000 in listings, and have the basic store. Yeah, it's funny. I have 2 billion listings approved. I don't even have, there's like the meter, and it doesn't even show like any progress on the meter on my store. I don't know how I got 2 billion listings, but it's pretty comical. Let's see. Gail Carson's in the house. Thanks for hanging out with us. Raining Retro, North Carolina, or NC. Nature Made in Utah. I get 250 free listings a month. For some reason, eBay took 50 of them away for the end of the month. Was getting ready to use 50 freebies, but eBay said I used my quota for the month.
Yeah, that happened to us. And what did I do? I clicked on request more listings or something. And I clicked that, and it came up where it was like an automatic message where it said denied. But then I went back the next day and it had bumped up my listings. So I don't know what happened. Just strange.
But definitely, I'd get a store. Consider getting the store if you need more listings than that. Raining Retro, North Carolina, or NC says, do you know if there's any way to see how many actives you had as it relates to the sales charts? My sales in 22 versus 21 were up 40% for the sales chart, but it's also growing my store size. I don't think there's a way you can see that, because if you're constantly changing the size of your store. So last year, let's say you had 1,000 items. This year you have 2,000. It's going to be difficult to know how you transition from 1,000 to 2,000 over the year, unless you kind of kept track of that as you went. Let's see. IC says, oh yeah, I just got socks to match. LOL. Oh, those shirts.
Yeah.
Let's see. Impressions are scroll buys. Yes. That's anytime it shows up on the buyer's screen. Piggy Ricky says 494,000 impressions last 30 days. And yeah, my traffic, I think my traffic numbers have been pretty constant, even when like my impressions, in the first part of the month and into December, I mean, it really isn't skyrocketed as like my sales did. So, I'm sitting at about 3.5 million impressions over the last 30 days. And I think I hit 150,000 impressions a few days ago on one of my better sales days. But I mean, if you go back to the 7th, 8th, and 9th of January, I was almost at 150,000 impressions and made nowhere near the sales. So again, you can promote the heck out of these things, because I have like the blue bar that shows that I have some promoted action going. But you can promote the heck out of these things, and if they just don't interest the buyer, you can have a lot of impressions with low sales. Let's see. No One Designs says, at some point in your business, when you scale up enough, the 20% unsold inventory should be right off instead of wasting time trying to sell that no one wants. But at some point when you listed that, hopefully you evaluated that these had some comps and some potential value, unless you're just buying stuff and blindly listing stuff. Like if you have like 10, 20, 30, 40,000 items in your store and you're listing 200 to 300 items a day. Okay. If you're doing something like that, there is no way that you're checking comps on all those. You wouldn't have the time. You wouldn't have the time to do all that. So if you're listing items like that, I totally see it. Right. But if you're, listing 10, 20, 30, 40 items in a day, you should have a pretty good idea if there's, previous solds, if there's any kind of value to that item, if you have something that nobody even is selling, that type of thing, chances are either it's rare and you're going to sell it fast, or nobody wants it and it's going to sit there forever. Tim McMinn says, good evening. How you doing? Andy Reyna is in Indiana in the house. Let's see. Anytime Picker says, I know that everyone wants eggs right now. I'm trying to avoid them. I walked by to see what they're currently going for, and I kind of just laugh and walk away. But Lisa Powell's, huh?
You bought some last time.
No, I bought them not last time. The trip beforehand. Lisa Powell's in the house from Pennsylvania. I could use some snow.
It's cold. No,
I could use some snow.
You can go up to Mount Charleston.
I don't want to go up to Mount Charleston.
Drive.
I want to go out. I want to do what Lisa's doing and go right out her front door and grab some snow and get my 10 minutes worth and go back inside and warm up. No One Design 2 says, it was the crackheads. They love throwing single shoes at the other people's cart. Could have been Tommy. No, actually, I have a sneaky suspicion it was Archie throwing stuff in my cart. No, I actually threw some stuff in his cart, but he saw me. Sherman says, is this live or Memorex? It's Memorex. Let's see. You remember that commercial where the person would say, is it live or Memorex? And they'd play a tape and it would like break the glass, and that's how good the recording was. You don't remember that? I just aged myself. I'm sure there's many.
Sure did, because I have no idea what you're talking
IC
about.
says, when is stuff your face with Cheez-Its Day? It ain't today.
It's cake day.
Yeah, stuff your face with cake. LSGS Rob says that 200 disc changer is worth $100 at best, maybe 125 with the remote. Sold over a dozen of the Sony ones, and they aren't as good as the 400 disc DVD HDMI with remote. Yeah, I agree with that. Victoria McKean says hello from Delaware. Hello, Victoria. Let's see. Rich Colby, I just had you on my screen here. Okay. You don't want to live in a world where there is no law enforcement. No. I mean,
true.
That's a scary thing, I went and bought a gun back in 2020 when all this craziness was going on. People were fighting over toilet paper and all that. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy a gun. And if this thing gets out of hand, at least I have some protection here. I still have the thing. It's like it's in the safe, but I don't know. I just don't want to have to rely on something like that, and people getting shot on the freeway and all this stuff. I guess it's been kind of happening for years, but it's just crazy. I mean, it's just crazy. If you can go back 10 years from now and say all this stuff is happening, who would believe it?
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't. Let's see. Trying to find some. Trina says, imagine being grown and promoting Anarchy. Must be a Californian. Yeah, it's there's a lot of that in California.
A lot of it in New York and Washington.
It's everywhere. It's even in Atlanta now. They have that little fort that they put together.
Well, they put they've
had that for a while.
Oregon and Washington.
Yeah, just dumb.
What do they call it?
I don't know.
I want to say Alcatraz, but that's the The prison.
Something about forest or something. They're in the forest.
No.
Anyway, Sherman Volkman says, duplicate listings killed my store. I had 200 duplicates. eBay didn't catch. Decided to delete all the listings and maybe start over. Started listing on Facebook Marketplace. And, you know, I read something, I think it was like on e-commerce bites, where someone was saying, if you leave ended items in your ended items, just collection of ended items, there's a chance that your items from there will be relisted. Maybe there's a glitch that's happening. So maybe every month or 2 weeks, you go in and make sure your ended items is free of listings. Maybe you had items that you had just deleted out of your store and didn't think about it, but they go into ended, and you want to get rid of those as well. Let's see. Lisa
said, every time I list men's nylon dress socks, they sell within 24 hours to the same buyer. Maybe they live somewhere that they can't get those.
That's weird.
That's a little
strange. You're not the only person selling those, right? One Design says, here is a tip I used many years ago. Buy a stitching wheel for $10 and use it to perf the box you're making. Makes folding custom boxes way easier. So for me, I bought one of those little wheels. It's like bought it from Shed Flips' channel. And I bought it, and it's like this rotating wheel thing, and it doesn't work for me. It perforates the box, but it doesn't roll straight for me. So for me, I just go in and get a box cutter, and I go along the side from the inside of the box, and I just do a straight line slowly. I score the box from the inside, and then I do the other side, and I fold the flap down, and then I use that flap as like a level, and I just score the box along that line, and then cut the excess box here, and then I flap it over. So that's what I've done, and it works pretty well. Now, sometimes I'll get a box that's sitting there, and it's like kind of like it's not flat perfectly, but it's like, oh well, I don't care. I'm just going to ship it like this. Monster Loon's in the house. Hello, Flippin' Fam. Trevor says, no relation to Bill, but you never know. My mother was not all that wholesome. Wow. Oh, that's horrible. Riddle's Closet says, hit that thumbs up button and got 2 sales. See? Woo! You must have double clicked it. Agatha Blanco says, my status, they evaluate the last 3 months. So yeah, so you just, now I'm not sure if you're the one that had that issue, maybe not, but it depends on how much you've actually sold to determine how often they check your seller status. Nellie says, hey there, John and Jenna, hope you're doing well.
Hi, Nellie.
And yes, we're okay. Kyle B says, hey guys, glad you're back up and running. Question, have you ever had the issue where you can't find specific items and using the search feature in the Seller Hub under active listings?
Yes.
Yeah. I use the Terapeak for that too. Yeah, and that does come up with some of those items. Now, if you're looking for your own listings, though, I can't find half of my listings when I search for them. You might want to just sign out and try to look, and maybe utilize the same words that you used in your title. Because remember, how you word your title is very important, because if you have a person that types your title to the T, it's there's a very, very good chance that's going to be one of the first ones they see, provided that you're not also using the same title as other people as well. Trevor says, I got the same question with socks. I brought the weirdos out, but they did sell for $17. That's really, really strange. Hey, well, then keep selling them.
We sell to all. There's no discriminating here.
Yeah. No One Design says, I have a pic of my cat's foot just for that situation comes in.
Because you didn't read the one. He said the guy was asking a million questions. Hold on, go back.
I go too high?
Down.
I don't know. Okay. Well, anyway, I get the point.
He said the guy came back, wanted a picture.
Nellie says, my listings are way down. I've been pulling my crap and unloading it at the flea market. My sales are down. Maybe depleting the junk will help. Yes, I think so. If anything, do like I did. Create a second store. If you have a lot of stuff that you don't want to just, maybe it has some value, but you don't want it to run down your whole store's sell-through rate. So get Ink Frog for like a month. Mesh both of your stores into InkFrog, and then it'll basically take a library of all your listings together. And then, of course, on the new store, there won't be any to mesh over or to merge over. And then just take all your items that suck and then go in and end them and then relist them over to the new store. And that's kind of how I used InkFrog to do it without having to just go through the process of putting new pictures up, putting new descriptions up, that type of thing. Sherman says, eBay drove me crazy. I was getting weekly payouts. I send my payout. The next day, they charged for my store, so my funds would have a deficit.
That's happened to us.
And it's happened where you can have, like, let's say they okay, we have $200 here in available funds. They'll ship it off to my bank, and then guess what comes in the next day? Here comes all the UPS fees, because once an item gets shipped, they don't charge you for the UPS label until it actually has been delivered. And it seems like they batch those all together and then they throw them at you all at once. Semper says, I've right now a half click through and 2.4 conversion sale ratio. And I think you probably want to do better than that, but trying to find. So average click through rate is 0.2% on this account, and conversion rate 1.3. So that's pretty good. It's pretty good. Maybe I need to want to do better than that. But it just sounds like such a low number. Maybe you're doing pretty well there. I don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah. Let's see. Noah Design says, I check comps on categories, not single listings. So yeah, there you go. So you might have some duds within that category that really just suck.
Yeah.
And it's time to let them go. But I can tell you, I don't buy stuff to list unless I can find some comps. So I'm looking at comps for all these things.
Trombley's Treasure. Yes. InkFrog will let you put 2 stores in one account.
Yes. LSGS Rob says, I don't have it to check comps when you niched and know your stuff. Yeah, I guess so. But if you knew your stuff, you'd have a higher success rate than 80%. I don't know. Maybe you're buying stuff as a lot and maybe 80% of it's sellable, 20% it's not. So it is what it is. But when you sell everything like me, you're not an expert really in anything. You're just, you're relying on the comps more than you would if you, let's say, stuck to one category. We have Perfect Storms in the house. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Piggy Ricky says, this is a good info for me. I clearly needed to do some more tweaking on my 1,460 listings. Too much crap, I guess. Yeah, I think sometimes we can get inundated with, yes, I have 1,400 listings in the store, but how many of those are really just bringing your store down? And maybe it's doing what I did, or just getting rid of the listings altogether and trimming the fat. When Mark Sedek says, when you knocked the stuff off the rock, you must did a Homer Simpson moment. Dope. I did, but I was like frozen.
It was more of a, yeah.
Let's see. Shane's in the house. 4.3 million impressions and 135 sales last 30 days. Impressions don't mean much. They don't really mean much. But to me, it's like, here's the thing. There's stages of selling your item on eBay. So the first step is, if your item is stuck on page 10, you're not going to get many impressions, and therefore it's going to be harder to sell your item, right? So you want more impressions. That's a sign that people are seeing your item, right? And if you're getting a lot of impressions but no sales, that means that there's something wrong with your listing. It doesn't appeal to the buyer in some way, right? And it's even worse if you have high page views. They're clicking on your item, but something that you have in your listing is turning that person off. Could it be, no returns, or, if you open this box up and you take the contents out and return it, and it comes back in a different, you threaten the buyer in your description, is kind of what I'm saying. If you waste your item description on reasons why you're going to give them half their money back on a return and why you don't accept returns, then that's going to scare people away. Maybe your photos just suck. Maybe there's something about your photo that's like, ooh, that doesn't look too good. I'm going to go to the next one. So all those things do tell a story. And of course, at the end of the day, it all depends on just your sales. But you can have crappy listings that don't get very good impressions, but they're high in demand and they sell quickly. And, like your iPhones and things like that. So you just got to have an understanding of what you're selling, and the traffic information does give you kind of an idea of what's happening there. Hot cocoa by the fireplace at the lodge on Mount Charleston is worth the drive. No,
Sure is.
it's not. Because if you
Sure
go, no,
is.
it's not. The lodge isn't there anymore. It
Yes,
burned down.
They rebuilt
No,
it.
they did not. They did not rebuild it.
Okay. Well,
They have a makeshift thing there. They do not have the lodge at Mount Charleston
They
anymore.
have a lodge. The lodge is not the one that you're thinking
Oh,
of.
you're talking about the one at the base?
Yes.
No, that's not the same. I think Trina's thinking about the lodge. That thing burned down about a year and a half ago.
But
like-
they're rebuilding.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we haven't gone back up, because we like going to the lodge. Get some hot cocoa. You're walking around, that
It
kind of
was
thing.
so sad. We were there 1 week before.
Yeah, we had lunch there.
We had it was our anniversary.
Yep. I see remembers the Memorex ad. I don't know why it was brought up, but yeah. I still don't understand the question, but
It's not a question.
yeah, well, is it live or Memorex? I just don't understand why. Prosser
Is
Independent
this
says,
live?
yeah, says since eggs are expensive over there, have you looked to see if people selling eggs on eBay? They
Oh,
wouldn't make the
God.
trip. How would you ship eggs?
You know what? We've seen some
can't-
things.
No. That doesn't make any sense.
Do it.
Uh,
Do it.
I'm not looking up anything on this video at all that's selling on eBay. Last time I did, we got into some trouble. AI chickens that
trouble.
we turned this this live stream into a S show.
Turned it into a
To a different kind of a show. AI chickens that'll be able to produce eggs will be hot item to sell on eBay.
Yeah.
Let me know when that happens. Let's see. Don't you have to own a food store to list food? No, you can list food as long as it's not expired, certainly. Like box food and stuff like that. Let's see if I can get some more here. Sherman wants to know who sells used socks. Do you wash them at least? That's a smelly business. I thought you couldn't sell like used undergarments or used socks. I don't want to get off on that tangent.
We are already.
But legally,
been
you
down.
have to put them under new and then say these stink to high heaven or something before in the actual listing. Nellie says that's exactly how I do my boxes. They ain't fancy, but it works. Yeah, look, as long as you get the item, what are they going to do with the box anyway? Throw it in their garage. They're going to throw it in the trash, whatever. Shane says you need the box perforated with the handle and adjustable guide. They got them on Amazon for like $12, but I did buy one of those and it just never worked properly for me. Mindy says eBay should be doing their homework before suspending sellers. Glad to see your happy face again. Yeah, as far as that is concerned, eBay is more into rubber stamping. They don't do their homework on many things. They treat you and I like a number, and then they wonder why they're losing sellers. So it is. Before I go off on another tangent on that subject, Nellie says I hit the thumbs up and someone paid for an item. That's the same. It's kind of the same. You got the money,
that
right?
That means you got the money.
And what I noticed is eBay doesn't count that as a sale in the little chart that they give you, the little summary, until they paid for it. So if they bought a $200 item and they pay for it tomorrow, you're getting credit for that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Shirley says, I received my first negative review a week ago, and I've noticed my sales decline tremendously. Any tips on generating more sales? I've been listing consistently. Well, first of all, always look into the negative. See if it's something that has some merit. If it doesn't have merit, you should maybe consider trying to get it removed. Go in, even if you're like, say, you know what, it's legit. Go in and request. There's a feedback removal tool, and just say here's why I don't think it should be there. See what happens. Maybe someone will rubber stamp it, maybe hit the wrong key and remove it. You never know. But if you are going to live with it, you need to put a reply on that feedback so that the potential buyer will see that, oh, okay, well, this is what happened, not just whatever the buyer put in there.
Yeah, that way they have two sides, not just the buyer.
Now, there's going to be an element or a number of people that will argue with you and say, well, there is no correlation between receiving a new negative feedback and lower sales. I tend to disagree with that statement. I think that anything that negatively happens to your account is built in a small way, not a large way, a small way into the algorithm. Now, if you have a lot of things happening to your account at once, negatives, returns, maybe your third warning, you're about to be suspended, maybe late shipping rate, all these things happening to your account at once, that's all collectively going to drag you down.
Yeah, I don't think one negative is going to take your sales into a deep decline. There's something else.
Try a markdown sale, try a coupon if you have a store. If you don't have a store, try lowering your prices, that kind of thing. Try ending your items and sell just launching all of the ones you ended, sell similar, and see if that gives you a boost. Tommy says, I turn on all my lava lamps, drop a couple of hits of LSD, put on a diaper, and cry to eBay gods for sales. It works and saves time in the bathroom. Tommy. We know you don't do that. Agatha says, when I checked, they only considered my defect from November. I was surprised. Yeah. So, I think account health is really, really important. Making sure that you're in line to, people say, top rated seller is overrated. I really think top rated seller plus is overrated. There is, you do get a little bit of a boost more so than you would if you are just above standard. So always strive to be as high of a level. I don't care what I'm doing. I could be, whatever you name it. I want to be the best at what I'm doing. So, and of course, this whole eBay thing, you guys know I can do a lot better, but it's not because of a lack of effort. That's for sure. Bill York says, do you ever use 24 photos? I use a lot of them. Like when I'm really trying to get a lot of angles of the features or defects and things that's right and wrong with the item, I'll use a lot of different angles, but I've never used all 24. Raining Retro, what do you think of searches on eBay now showing seller name, feedback score, top rated next to every listing? At least it does on the computer. I haven't seen that. So maybe, let's see. So, no, I guess it depends on how you have the view. Here. Oh, right here. Oh, yeah. You know what? I think that's good for the buyer. Like right now I'm seeing someone with 99% and this other person with 91.4%. I'd be like, what's going on with that person? 91, that means like 1 out of every 10 transactions is a negative. So yeah, I think it's a decent thing. I mean, I'm okay with transparency. It seems like eBay's not. When it benefits the buyer, they're okay with it. But when it benefits the seller, I don't think they are. They care about that. Wanda Greer says, am I alone? Ink Frog confuses me. Need instruction, I guess. It kind of did when I first used it. Yes,
for me, I agree with you, Wanda. I eventually got the hang of it, but Ink Frog was difficult.
Between cussing at Ink Frog and how do I find this, how do I do that, and learning how to do this and that, and then their service being down and stuff, it's like, no, I stopped using them. And I probably won't use them after this month because I've already gotten the benefit of what I signed up for, and that's moving the listings over. Trombley's Treasury says, will Ink Frog let you put 2 stores in one account? Yes, you can. Anytime Picker says, Tommy, LSD is expensive stuff, even though lately it's cheaper than eggs. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
How do you know?
If you're into that. Raining Retro North Carolina says, I created a clearance eBay category for low price or bad buys. Run 30 to 50% off all the time. Send offers for additional 10%. Sales beget sales, so prefer to sell low than donate. Yes, yeah. I agree with that. Let's see. Nelly says, if it's breakable and doesn't sell for over $20, it's out the door. I like small and easy to ship. Yeah, I think so. I like that too.
Trevor York is
York is no relation. I did my genealogy.
Oh, glad to know we could solve that today.
Thomas says, fees and labels come out every Tuesday, just like payout. I do daily payouts personally. Yeah, I've set for daily payouts. I just haven't noticed when they take them out, but it just seems like, okay, so if it's Tuesday, that's perfect because Monday they're sending all my money that I made over the weekend. And then now on Tuesday, if I didn't have a good Monday, it really wipes me out for all the labels, the large UPS boxes I shipped. Raining Retro says, I check comps before I price every item, but comps can change fast. Need to start going back to older inventory and recheck your comps or just start discounting things because even though when you listed that item, it was $40, now it might be only 25. John of all trades, master of nothing. Archie told me this. Yeah, that's pretty good. But I might be John of all trades, but I'm pretty good at those trades. Like I could probably be a better cook. I could probably be a better bowler.
He's pretty damn master of a lot of things.
Well, we won't talk about that here on this. Come on.
Stop
Come
yourself.
on. I got to have some privacy. No One Design says I do bi-weekly payouts because my crackhead gets paid every 2 weeks. Let's see. Tommy with daily payouts, there will be enough money left to get fentanyl after fees and shipping.
Oh my god.
Wow, you guys. Piggy Ricky says my photos have gone downhill since my iPhone died and shifted to the Galaxy camera.
Oh.
Yeah. Try using a background removal tool. There's times I'll take photos that look kind of blurry, but the white background removal does kind of seem to sharpen it up a little bit.
No One Design too. He is absolutely not a master at debating. However, he is working on it on a constant basis.
Hold on. Let me get to that comment. Well, I'll get to that when I get to that. Hawkeye Picker says, was it protesters that burned the lodge down? No, it was the cook. It was the cook who left the damn oven on or something and it burned it down.
It's so sad too.
Yeah. Biff says, please no tangents. I'm still trying to figure out fart jar item specifics. Well, let me help you with that. You've got spicy. You have hot.
Ew, stop.
Raining Retro, North Carolina. I sell a ton of used bras. It's not all undergarments you can't sell, just bottom undies as far as I know. And even then, you just sneak them under new and maybe just put new smell or something in the title. Anytime Pickers says sales should not decline tremendously because of one negative feedback. Right. Just reply to it. Remember, if you leave your negatives without any reply, all they have is the buyer side of the story. If you don't put a reply to that, then the next buyer is gonna be like, wow, this guy's a jerk. But if you say, look, we offered a return, they never got back to us, they wanted money back, and we told them no. I mean, what is that new buyer gonna think? Well, at least they tried to work with them, right? Raining Retros, I think you don't want your most recent feedback as negative. Sell a bunch of cheap to get that scroll down, and most buyers won't see it. Yeah. Because I do. Look, I'm not the only one that will say, okay, I'm looking at buying this item. This perfect person has a perfect feedback, but let me look at their negatives. I'll actually look for their negatives to see what the negatives were. I'm just that way. Sherman says, right now I only got one listing on eBay. Facebook, the listing is so easy. If I redo the store, it'll be in February. But Facebook, I just don't see the traffic. I listed a bunch of new toys over the holidays, didn't get anything. And, I offered shipping and everything and still didn't get any traction. The Monster Loon, do you think a lot of sellers would check feedback, turn away if it's not spotless? I mean, I think that they would look at it and consider it. Yeah. I mean, that's what I do. Mm-hmm. John wears foil panties. Yes. Tinfoil panties. Yes. I'm trying not to move to make a lot of noise, though. Processes, I can never figure out the eBay seller plus. No matter how I change the postage options, I can't get it to work. That's you have to have free returns on that for that item. If you get enough sales, top rated plus discount will pay for your store fee. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I think there's a trade-off between that and then your change your mind return. And so you got to figure in how many returns will I get. And from what I understand, there's a lot of folks that'll say, they don't get really any more returns than before. Maybe someday I'll move up to that on all my listings, but now I just don't.
Read the jovial juggler right underneath.
You need tinfoil panties when you light them up. Jeez. Lisa, if you buy a dozen of eggs on eBay, you get free airplane ticket to Philippines eBay headquarters.
Oh my God.
Oh, geez. Thomas says you have to use all 24 photos for the algorithm. That's not true. You can't. It's not true. But again, if you have 24 photos and the person that's in the search with you only has one, chances are you're probably going to be a little higher than them because of that factor. I mean, there's other factors that the algorithm considers, but that's certainly a plus in your favor. Semperfi says I got a set of studio lights for $50. Working on finding material to build a box for photos for eBay. Mm-hmm. That shouldn't be that difficult.
Just use go to I don't know where you are, but go to your Dollar Tree or whatever and get those, the poster boards.
Yeah. Yeah, you could set
They
something
work really good.
up. Let's see. Go down here.
I think Jenna didn't get it. Wait a minute. Hey,
You're
Jenna's
glowing.
glowing for a reason.
What did I miss?
Oh, because of your comment earlier.
Oh, is a master debater.
I think Jenna did.
Oh my. Process. I think Jenna said that slightly the wrong way on a master debater. I don't think Jenna got it. It's not the first time.
Hey.
Piggy Ricky says, I have a House of Parliament joke for that. Won't go here, but won't go there. Yeah, don't go there. Nellie says, I reply to negative feedbacks by saying, cash me outside. Cash me outside?
Oh, yeah. I remember that chick. It's never mind. Just keep going.
That went over my head. I'm sorry. Process got free returns, and a piece of white paper on the floor also works.
Yeah.
You know what? Putting it like on your bed,
No.
even if you haven't made it, can work, because if you use a background removal tool, they won't see that stuff, right? I'm a big fan of a background removal tool. I'm going to be re-upping my background removal program. It's like $60 for the year, but I've tried different things. I've even tried using my white background that I have, and it comes out like a grayish background. And I even did a video where I kind of use eBay's tool to brighten the photo, so it kind of makes it look like a white background, but it just whitewashes the item. Yeah, I can change the exposure of my photo, but I want to be doing all that. Just go in, select the 10 photos, have it remove the background, save it, and then fire it off on my listing. And that's what works for me. Darren Adams says, this awesome day at the estate sales, found some vintage 1980s sports specialties, trucker hats, rope style hats, and some starter jackets, and a LA Raiders Youngin with price tag $4.94. Yeah, inflation, that's for sure. Laura Gillette says Dollar Tree white wrapping paper works. Mm-hmm. And Nellie says, I use a white shower curtain. Yep. That way I can clean it as well. It's cheap enough. Yeah, I have that white. It's a roll of white. It's like say nylon, but it's not that. It's
like vinyl.
It's like a vinyl roll of white, and it's photo paper. One side it's really like a matte. The other side it's like a shiny, a glossy. And I just have it hanging, and I have the rest of the roll hanging under the table. You can clean it, but after a while, you start getting marks and stuff on it that really won't come out. And you just cut that off, throw it out, maybe flip it around to the matte side if you want, that's clean. Let that go for about 6 months, and then cut yourself a new sheet that you put up in its place. So that's like $30 on Amazon. Shirley M says, thank you for the advice, Jenna. Around that same time, I received one defect under tracking upload time. I've reached out to eBay multiple times, and they all say it does not affect my account. Defects do have they do hurt your account in the background a little bit. Not a lot. Again, I mean, is it going to prevent you from listing items and selling those items? No, but it may affect your ranking in search a little bit.
Just keep going. I mean, that's going to, it's almost kind of like it falls off eventually. Just keep pushing. Keep going.
Thumb it up, all. Y'all. My photo station's a white paper board on my table with
poster board.
That's what I said. My photo station is a white poster board on my table with another poster board taped to the wall behind it.
There you go.
That's
poster board.
You don't have to get fancy. I would say focus more on your lighting than anything else.
Yeah, lighting is super important, I think.
Get your lighting right, and I think everything else will fall into place. Even if you use your counter. I've seen people make good sales with putting it on their granite counter, but I just think there's something, even eBay. I was going to give you guys a clip from that same place. I got that clip at the beginning of the live stream. eBay saying that you should have a white background. Piggy Ricky says, but my wholesale, I do use white back stock photos, so those can make it to Google. Yeah. Mm-hmm. RJ Hill says, I started the second level store. Sales went up. I then canceled it, and sales went down, and daily payouts were placed back on hold. Does eBay punish? Yeah, it might seem to them like it's like suspicious activity.
Yeah.
And of course, I get it. Look, eBay wants to protect their buyers. They don't want a buyer to have a bad experience because a seller tried to rip them off. I mean, of course, eBay's got their back, so they won't let a seller rip off a buyer, but the buyers don't know that. And they're already, as it is, losing buyers on the platform. And they're going to do what they can to protect those buyers. And even if you're doing nothing wrong, just the idea that you might be, us sellers are guilty until proven innocent. And unfortunately, our actions on the platform prove our innocence. And if we do things that aren't conceived as being like odd, then we're innocent. But if we do things that we're not supposed to do, they're just going to think the worst of us, unfortunately. Darren says, trying to get merchandise as cheap as I can. And economy is tough, hitting the bins and estate sales. That's all you can do. You know, just be as creative as you can and just try to figure it out as you go. Monster Loon says, lighting is where I'm lacking. I rely on daylight, but with it getting dark earlier, that limits the times I can take photos. Yeah. Go and get some really cheap LED lights on Amazon. You can get them for like 20, 30 bucks for a pair that, you know, you plug in and like angle them out. And
they don't have to be these big box ones. They have these really nice ones that are fairly inexpensive, and they're probably by like a 5x7 or 5x6, you know, light, and you can just set them on the table. You could clamp them up. They bring so much. They bring such a positive light to, that sounds funny, positive light to the picture that it'll increase your photos by so much.
Now, if you take a look at the light above my head, it has I mean, this is not the kind of light you'd use to list anything, but just to give you an idea how prices have gone down. I think I paid like 80 bucks for the pair of these with a mount, and it does all the colors. It does the white light. You can change
all the. That's not the kind we're talking about.
But I just said that.
Oh.
So to give you an example, this light does all this stuff, right? But you can go onto Amazon and for half of this price, get stuff that's really going to work for you. So it used to be like, wow, I got to get lighting. That's going to cost me too much money. But you got to invest in your business. I mean, you're going to get what you put into it. And if you put just crappy lighting into your photos, it's not going to look as good as your competition. And it's already hard enough to get a buyer to click your item and buy it when you have good photos. Can you imagine if you had bad photos trying to do that? So make sure you spend the money that you can, even though it's going to kind of put you back. Buy some cheap, LED lighting, and it's not going to cost a whole lot. Trust me on that. Shane Dillon says, I got a negative 3 weeks ago. International buyer that misread my description and didn't look close at the pictures. Tried to dispute it with eBay and never got a response. My request disappeared. So I don't know. Did that disappear as a defect? I mean, did you get an email on that? Because see, if you let these things time out, that's when it hurts your account. So I would actually try to follow up on that to see, you know, can you tell me why this went away? What happened? Is it still with me? Is it a defect? And maybe talk to someone to see if you can get it removed if it is. Piggy Ricky says, just work through this downturn and still be standing through on the other end, and you'll be happy, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, it's just the times where you're struggling that really make the good times really feel special. I mean, you're learning from it, but you really, it's just that sense of like peace of mind when you're starting to actually, you know, make some pretty good sales. Noah Design 2 says, for small knickknacks items, yes, sell cheap LED lights are good, but for clothing, I advise box lighting, just my 2 cents. But you can get some pretty good LED lights that will give you the kind of lighting, even for clothing, for a pretty good price nowadays, even with inflation. Nellie Stromsky says, I'd like to use natural light when possible. I set my station up beside the window. Okay.
Yeah, I like natural light too, but we have a picture area.
Tommy says, the quality of light is more important than the light. If buying LED, 90% plus CRI will show better colors and edges. And I've never really had problems with shoes with the lighting, that's for sure. Laura says, ring lights are now at Walmart and Walgreens. But even then, you're probably going to be overspending on that. You'll be surprised. Some of these brands on Amazon that have pretty good reviews that are really, really inexpensive. Anytime Picker says, I buy whatever AP recommends in his videos about proper lighting. Oh, that's Auction Professor.
He's laughing.
Yeah, no, I know.
Oh.
But yeah, that's Auction Professor. I was just trying like AP. Which one of these YouTubers is that? Nelly says, I agree about cheap lighting on clothes, especially blue and black colors. Yeah, black.
Yeah, I was gonna mention the blue or the black mostly for us. That's where I have a huge problem.
But what you do is you take your what the hell setting is that? Now I'm gonna forget it. You take your I'll get it here in just a second. Sorry guys.
Spit it out.
Your exposure and you set it to positive. No, to set it to negative to darken those blues and blacks. And I've learned that that's actually helped pretty well for me. Let's see. No one designing says clothing need good diffuse lighting. And Darren says, I got light box in 2010 and it still works great. Makes a difference with your pictures. Piggy Ricky says, I never open my curtains. Well, you got to come outside once in a while. Let some light in your house. So guys, that is kind of at the end. We're over an hour and a half into this. And I just want to thank you guys for being a part of this here. Have a good time with you every time we do this. And, you know, it just one of those things that we look forward to, and we kind of drop everything. And it's like before the show I was running errands and I got back here, is trying to put a video clip together and is pulling my hair out, but it's all worth it. We enjoy dealing with you guys, or you dealing with us.
Dealing with them. Dealing with you.
We love it. You guys know what I'm talking about.
We're not dealing, we're engaging.
That's right. But you're dealing with me too. So
I deal with him.
The fact that you guys are tuning in and, you know, dealing with me instead of anyone else, that's pretty awesome. So thank you for hanging out with us, and just follow my advice. If it works for you, maybe you're having slow sales. Maybe you've done everything to your store and it's still not working. Well, why not try to just end all your listings and just fire them back up as sell similar, not relist, but sell similar. Change your prices afterwards. Maybe do a bulk edit on your price, maybe deduct like 10, 20%. Get the sales going, guys. But that's just one idea, but yet just another example of how sometimes flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have an excellent weekend, and we will talk to you guys on Monday. You may see a video from me over the weekend, but if not, you'll hear from us on Monday. So take care, everyone.